Yes, well, look, shortly I'll give you a big update on that breaking news that Trump appears to have torpedoed the old Chagos deal, so can't wait to get stuck into that one. We've managed to send a deportation letter hand-delivered to some blokes on the most remote island in the world within 24 hours, but of course we can't deport rapists, murderers and paedophiles. It's remarkable, isn't it? But tonight it can be revealed that a dangerous criminal set for deportation has escaped from police custody twice in a week. Daniel Boyake was jailed for 6 years and 5 months for a string of knife-point robberies. He was part of a gang that threatened victims with knives and then forced them to hand over their phones and passcodes needed to unlock the devices. They then stole around £115,000 in cryptocurrencies. Now, he is due to be deported to Ghana, but he was being imprisoned at HMP Feltham. And last Tuesday, he escaped after being taken to a hospital in Lewisham. The Met Police then caught him on Wednesday at an address in southeast London. But then on Sunday, he somehow escaped from police custody again. And to make matters worse, he's now posting videos on social media, taunting the police and Keir Starmer.
I just broke out a jail like Modi. The government from their phony. Marcus Scofield man's police. On the roads, I'm a legend like Toby. From Congo, boom like Kobe. First room, that's like free cannabis, champagne and rollies. She ain't dealt with a brother like this when I step in the town. There's free cannabis. Yeah. Everyone in town was free cannabis. Just put in the work and change your mindset if you actually want some of this. It's greatness. I pray to the Lord and all of this. She never ever dealt with a brother like this when I step in the town. There's free cannabis, free cannabis, free cannabis.
Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's a legal cigarette. Do you? All of this could have been avoided if they just deported him years ago. He's the latest in a long line of lags who've managed to escape. Do you remember the Ethiopian child sex offender from the Bell Hotel who just wandered out? And then he popped up carrying a natty little avocado tote bag in London, just wandering around a library before eventually being caught on a park bench. He actually said that he tried to hand himself back in as well, just to make matters worse. And then there was this Algerian sex offender, Brahim Kaddour Sharif. He disappeared before being snared in North London.
When you can, mate.
If anything happen, if anything happen, protection.
What the heck is going on in this country? It comes just days after it was revealed that children aged between 10 and 17, so just bear in mind that you can vote at 16 now, but anyway, children aged between 10 and 17 who are caught carrying a knife will not be prosecuted. No, they'll just get mentoring sessions. Oh, why don't we just give them all a hug? Just give them all a hug. I know you've got a machete, but come here for a hug. It'll make it all go away. Anyway, if you do see this guy, then he's dangerous, so don't try to approach him. But even if you did, he'd probably manage to just get away, because it turns out he's basically a Ghanaian Houdini. How on earth do you manage to escape police custody twice in a week?
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Reform UK Councillor Jamie McIver, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Mark, so he's out and about, and, you know, just to make matters worse, he's posting videos, and he's even written a little rap song about it.
Well, as you said at the end of your introduction there, Patrick, I mean, either this guy is Harry Houdini, Professor Moriarty and the Scarlet Pimpernel all rolled into one, or there is unbelievable levels of police incompetence here, especially as he got away a mere 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the cops are investigating this, but, I mean, well, I can't wait to see the CCTV footage. I mean, it's going to be an episode of the Keystone Cops, isn't it? I mean, why... He was in hospital again this time, is that right? Has it been two hospitals?
Well, he tried it once and it worked for him, so you've got to back it the second time.
Why wasn't he... I mean, I don't know what treatment he was in for, but you would have assumed he would be handcuffed to the bed or something. But he's outrun them, apparently. I mean, perhaps the cops were too busy with their noses buried in their diversity, equality and inclusion manuals rather than keeping a beady eye on him. It seems to me it is rank incompetence. There will now be an inquiry, which I bet you lasts months, not hours.
Yeah.
Nobody will take the rap for this because responsibility is spread so thinly that nobody's really in charge. Absolute shocker. Whoever was in charge of this operation and the previous one should be fired.
Yeah, this is arguably the worst one. Yeah, I mean, the Kabatu from the Bell Hotel, I mean, originally, of course, from Ethiopia, you know, that was bad because he sexually assaulted a child. But that was like... They kind of accidentally let him out, and then apparently he tried to hand himself back in. We had this farcical situation where he's wandering around London with an avocado tote bag before being caught on a park bench. And, you know, he seemed as confused as everyone else. But this guy has held people at knife point, robbed them, was part of an armed gang that was doing all of this, and they've let him out not once but twice.
But this is just like, it's not even surprising anymore, Patrick, because we've got to a point now where government departments like the prison service, now the public have no faith in these institutions. Same with the police. There are some amazing, brave police officers that do an incredible job to keep the public safe, but there's also a load of police officers that shouldn't be police officers, that are too busy policing tweets, that are too busy doing things that actually they didn't join the police force to do. You would think that somebody that's been released from prison, whether that be accidental or to go to hospital, would be, like, as Mark says, cuffed to whatever hospital bed they're in, 24-hour surveillance, and the minute they don't need to be in hospital, they're back in their cell. I always think of the victims of these crimes. They must be petrified. Imagine being a victim of crime. The person that's maybe ruined your life is now in prison, or somebody that's harmed a loved one of yours is in prison. The fact of the matter is, in Britain right now, if somebody's in prison, they can quite easily be released. And the worst thing about it is we struggle to find these people when they are released. It's embarrassing.
Well, but this wouldn't be a problem if we'd have just deported him.
Absolutely. Well, let's say why wasn't he deported when he was jailed? And that was under the previous government. And I have... I'm very happy to blame the previous government for a lot of these problems.
Everything.
Well, I'm sorry about this, Mark, but you must understand that I will bring up the subject that between 2010 and 2019, the Conservatives dispensed with 20,000 police officers. Then they tried to get them all back in a hurry, and of course they ended up by taking kind of a lot of inferior candidates, as it were. And we've seen what harm that has caused. But this is indeed sheer incompetence. As it is like the Keystone Cops. It's utterly ridiculous. But you cannot just blame this government for it. This government. It's not this government. It is the incompetence of the human beings who are doing jobs that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, there's a process thing here as well, isn't there, Nina? And where I would accept an awful lot of blame from the previous Conservative government. I don't know the details here, Patrick, but I'm surmising. I bet the efforts to deport him have been held up on all sorts of human rights grounds. And I want there to be a very clear legal system that once you've got, was it 6.5 years inside for these very serious offences, that this is a matter of seconds of stamping a deportation order on some sort of form and escorting him pretty quickly to the airport, perhaps after he served a certain amount of prison time. But we are incapable, because of the process overseen and embraced by both this government and the previous one, to get any of these processes moving at speed.
But totally irrelevant of either of those points is the fact of the matter is we do have a Labour government. They have a majority in Parliament, it is possible to get these people out by leaving the ECHR. The government and the political will of Parliament isn't to do what the British people want, and that is where we keep hitting. The previous Tory government never wanted to do what was required in order to get these people out of our country, these vile people, and the current government doesn't have the political will to do it, and we have a Prime Minister that can't control his own backbenchers. We have a supermajority in Parliament. Parliament is sovereign. Anything is possible. Leave the ECHR, these people are gone, but we choose to remain in it.
You say that. Shabana Mahmood has made it very clear that she'd like to have a look at Section 2 and Section 8, which are the sections that actually relate to the reasons that are being used, to prevent people from being deported. And she's made it very clear that she'd like somehow to negotiate. But you can't just do that in a hurry. And if we were to leave the ECHR, where does that leave Ireland? Where does that leave Ireland? Because that's part of the deal.
You mean Northern Ireland?
Northern Ireland,
of course, Northern Ireland, as being part of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, will always be a part of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but we need to get on with this sort of stuff.
We have a Parliament quite capable. The idea...
You say that.
But Nina, you talk down Britain. We have got...
I don't...
No, in the sense that
when
we have got...
When did you say I talked down Britain?
I will explain. We have the best universities in the world, the most amazing education system, some of the brightest and the best in this country. We will find a way to make sure that the United Kingdom remains a United Kingdom by leaving the ECHR. The idea that it's European legislation embedded into our legislation will stop us from doing that.
That is not going to happen in time to deport this guy.
Right.
All right.
Can we play the video again? Sorry, can I just ask if we can play the video again? And I'm happy to talk over it if that's easier as well, because it's really quite... You might have missed a couple of things the first time round about this video that really are quite sensational, because he is at someone's flat or wherever he is. Right, now, what we're looking at there is you'll be able to see on the left of the screen before this bit, anyway, was a news article with his face on it. So it was a BBC News article. There you go. I think it might have even been a Sun News article. So he's there smoking what I don't believe to be a legal cigarette, and rapping about champagne as well. His previous Instagram post had just got him next to sports cars. So I mean, this guy's not exactly laying low, right? And it's the second time in a week he's been out and about. And the point is, he knows that he was scheduled for deportation within a couple of months. So he's obviously got nothing to lose. So this guy is now double dangerous.
Yeah, of course he's double. But he's also... He doesn't... I mean, it's hard to base it on that small clip. He doesn't come across as the Napoleon of crime, does he?
No.
I mean, I don't know how easy it is to identify that flat, for example. But extraordinary, yeah. And he shouldn't be here. They should lift him and get him out of the country ASAP.
Things. You said that the Labour government's doing nothing. They're going to... He's planned to be deported in a couple of months. So there is a process that's ongoing. So don't do that. Secondly, I don't talk this country down. Thirdly, don't you bet someone's going to offer him a record deal?
Right, well...
And the thing is, you have to ask yourself that given different circumstances, a different upbringing... listen...
Held people at knife point, Nina, and robbed their phones off.
I understand all of that. Horrendous, dreadful, a criminal. But, there comes a fork in the road and you choose one turn or another. However, if he has that much drive and that to make these things and to taunt the police, then given a different set of circumstances, he could have been a big star.
If only he'd had a youth club.
Ping Pong would have done it.
Give that boy a table tennis table and a pool cue at the age of 14.
And a nice hug and a tap on the shoulder.
Give him a hug.
Patrick, with some hot chocolate and marshmallows, this guy could have had the world at his feet. The reality is, as a criminal, we need him out of the country ASAP. And it's embarrassing.
But the plan is he is going in 2 months when they...
Well, if they can find him.
If these idiots can catch him.
And then get him onto a deportation flight, and then all sorts. But I mean, the other aspect as well is zooming out of it a little bit. Is of course that we appear now to not be going to prosecute people with a criminal offence if they're aged between 10 and 17 and caught with a knife.
Yes, this is extraordinary. I mean, especially as you were highlighting, Patrick, at the upper end of that spectrum, we have this complete confusion now where we have decided that 16-year-olds are mature enough to vote, but if they're caught wielding a knife, they're going to need a mentoring session. They can't smoke, they can't drink. We've got everything completely out of sync. Look, a 10-year-old, if you're at or below the level of criminal responsibility, that's one thing. But once you're above the level of criminal responsibility, you should face the full force of the law for wielding a knife. No ifs, no buts, no hugs, no kisses, the full force of the law.
And we know anyway that a lot of these gangs use kids to transport drugs and knives. This is going to be a green light for them. I want to just get to this, what the Met Police have said. A Met Police spokesperson has said Daniel Boyake was in police custody at the hospital receiving medical treatment when he fled. Officers gave chase but could not detain Boyake before he left the building. We are currently reviewing this incident to fully understand the events which unfolded. The Met's Directorate of Professional Standards is aware. So, yeah, there you go.
All those tubby plods trying to, waddle down a corridor.
Well, that is like one of those Little Britain type apologies. Isn't it? I was walking through the park when I fell over and accidentally... Anyway, right,